Yes, just okay. You hear me? Perfect, yeah. My name is Günther Fellinger-Jahn, and I'm absolutely in favor of freedom for Biafra. And I made this campaign now for ex-Nigeria. I'm not sure you're in favor of ex-Nigeria. Maybe you can give me a thumbs up. I see that. Very good. Perfect, yeah. And we will discuss tonight how we can achieve it, what we have to do, and how we can work together. And I present myself. First of all, my name is Günther Fellinger-Jahn. I'm an Austrian economist. I'm supporting freedom in the world. I'm against tyranny, and I'm against the prosecution of Christians. And no matter of religious or ethnicity, I'm against the suppression of anybody. We all should live in freedom. We should live in a free world, and there should be decency in countries. Just, we in Europe, we have this big problem with the Russian war against Ukraine. And this is, of course, the most important issue for us. And then I have already proposed, some of you might have seen the ex-Russia. That means basically the victory of Ukraine and driving the Russians out of Ukraine because they have nothing to do there. Ukraine is an independent country and they have nothing to do there. And so they have to leave. But they are, of course, there with 1 million of army and we have to drive them out. And then, of course, we understand that Russia is supported by certain countries, like, for example, India, China, but as well Nigeria and others in the world. And so I looked closer what is exactly the situation in BRICS and in the Shanghai Cooperation. And so I found the situation of Nigeria very disturbing. And the more I discussed this, I found out more evidence of this genocide against Christians and in Nigeria. And obviously, I've learned also the history of Biafra. And so the logic came to me to call for Biafra independence and also for ex-Nigeria. This will happen after the fall of Russia because they're all in one alliance, and definitely that's the plan. And that's what I'm hoping for, that the situation will be that Biafra will receive a lot of international attention also through my effort now. And of course, President Trump's tweet last week was, of course, decisive. And in America, you have a lot of support. But what I'm doing is obviously trying to mobilize also European support for Biafra. As I said already in my tweet, I apologize for our neglect 50 years ago. And also in the case of the French and the British, there was complicity with the genocide on behalf of the Europeans that we must apologize for. And active remedy is also necessary. And that can only be now in the situation where 50 years later, the Nigerian Christians, the Biafrans, are again the victim of atrocities and genocide. We must stand with you. We must be at your side. We must support you. And we must also take it very seriously that you want to have an independent state, because the experience in Europe has shown that independent states works much better for religious minorities, because it's an illusion to think that suddenly in Nigeria there will be harmony, everybody will live together and peacefully, and there will be a great federal state where everything will be fine. I don't think that will be possible. I think it is much more realistic scenario of ex-Yugoslavia, and I always say, please, Nigeria is the ex-Yugoslavia of West Africa. It's a bunker of nations. And much better situation is when there is a breakup of that state and the independence of the various entities. So it's not only about Biafra independence, but also about the independence of several other countries emerging out of Nigeria. I still, and I recommend that, to have a process of the various regions and ethnicities and to agree on an assisted breakup of Nigeria, because I'm sure north, south, west, there will be other nations, and it's much better to simultaneously break away together, because otherwise, when Biafra is only breaking away alone, there will be the might of the Nigerian state then against Biafra, as it was 50 years ago, and we have to avoid such a situation. It's much better, like we had it in Yugoslavia, where Slovenia broke away, Bosnia broke away, Croatia broke away, Macedonia, and ultimately as well Montenegro and Kosovo. And these are the role models. Additionally, I have also an economic plan to offer how to rebuild and to revitalize the Biafran economy after independence and what to do, how to be successful, how to be part of the free world, because we have seen many, many countries break away in Eastern Europe in the last, emerge in Eastern Europe in the last 30 years. And I had the honor and pleasure and also responsibility to assist in Kosovo, Montenegro, in Albania. And this is all now much better countries than they ever were, as long as they were in this prison of nation that was ex-Yugoslavia. So it will be the same for Nigeria, I'm confident. And that is what we can discuss in the coming hour. And I'm happy to take questions and answer the requests. And I have my co-host Nicole, who maybe would like to moderate the discussion tonight. And we can then also go into all the details, economics, geopolitics, Russia, Ukraine, Nigeria, the prosecution of Christians. And I also, because we have also European guests and from other parts of the world, and also for me personally, I would like to learn about the situation in Nigeria, in Biafra, the concrete disaster and atrocities you are suffering. And I'm very much looking forward for all your questions and answers. And we have already a lot of people watching, and we have some requests for speaking. And maybe, Nicole, you want to introduce yourself and start the moderation.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Nicole, and I will moderate it today. The first one who asked to talk is Olu T. Olu, you can ask a question.
Yeah, hello, good evening, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, welcome.
Good evening, yeah. It's my pleasure to be on this show. It's something I've always looked forward to. I'm not, I'm not Igbo. I'm not from the Igbo side. I'm Yoruba, and I've always wanted Nigeria to be to break up because it was not supposed to be a country in the first place. You know, Britain forced us together for their own purpose. You know, and it's not the togetherness. The living it has caused us more pain than joy. There's so much bloodshed. We don't understand each other. There's too much. The ethnicity is too much. It's causing chaos. So we should. I've been looking forward to the day Nigeria will break up into bits and we will be able to live how we were before Britain came to force us together. So the thing is, how do we go about this now? I'm looking forward to Biafra breaking away. If Biafra breaks away, that will give us the way out as well as Yoruba. I want Yoruba land to be out of Nigeria, completely out of Nigeria. We're not supposed to be Nigeria in the first place. I'm not Nigerian, I'm Yoruba. And we were forced. I mean, our identity has been taken away. They call us Nigerian. I'm not Nigerian, I'm Yoruba. I was never Nigerian. They forced the name on us. We don't know who we are anymore. So I'm looking forward to the day Nigeria will break up. So how do we go? I'm really happy that this kind of show came on. I never thought in years that this kind of opportunity will come up where we'll be able to discuss how we should break up Nigeria because living together has caused us more pain than anything else.
I understand. You are also the victim of the British imperialism because they forced
Yeah,
all the tribes of Nigeria together and they formed this country, Nigeria. And it is basically a legacy of the British imperialism. And we have to overcome that. And it's a very simple map of the new countries, similar like we have done it in Russia, ex-Russia, and then to agree on an assisted project to really show everybody that you don't want to live together anymore and that you have the right for self-determination. This is very clear. And then to assist the breakup of your country.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. The next one.
Thank you. The next one is Information Media Communicat.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is a very important point from you, and I'm also there are a lot of political prisoners, and they must be released. This is very important. And I call for the release of Masi and all the freedom heroes of Biafra to be released from Nigeria. And I also strongly reject that the European Union countries repatriate forcefully freedom fighters from Europe to Nigeria. They will face prosecution there, and so it's absolutely unacceptable to send them to the Nigerian authorities. They must stay in Europe where they hopefully are safe and secure. And that's a very important aspect of this campaign. And we all have to work together to achieve that. Thanks a lot from your side. Is there other questions?
The next one is Moiten Okke.
You're welcome. New question?
Moitan.
Moitan is still silent, muted. If you want to say something, you're welcome. But you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening. Basically, I'm happy to be here. So,
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll just go straight to the point. Now, after this Twitter space, what next?
After the Twitter space, what next is your question? You know,
Yeah.
there must be a global awareness campaign for the plight of the Christians in Nigeria. And there's a lot of activities in Europe now forward to that. And we must translate this anger of and this care for the Christians in Nigeria into concrete, actionable kind of proposal towards the freedom and independence of Biafra and ex-Nigeria. Because this is what most Europeans don't understand, that the only hope for the Christians in Nigeria is the independence of Biafra, and this is basically what comes next. Thanks a lot. You can continue.
Okay, so so how do we now translate this? Everything you just said, it's so how do we put this into perspective? Because let it be as though after we keep talking and talking about concrete actions. So what are the plans you think we should take, or how do you come to help us to actually achieve our goal?
Thanks for very concrete. I'm an activist in Austria. I'm an Austrian economist, so I'm not responsible for the freedom of Biafra, and I can also not to defeat the Nigerian central forces. Nor do I want to do it if I would have it. Yeah. So my task is the awareness raising. My task is, especially because I'm from Europe, I can of course explain to the Europeans what exactly the situation is, and I can listen to you from Nigeria, from Biafra, what really needs to be done. And that's what I'm doing also in this space. But the real actionable thing, which I normally advise to all the independence movements in ex-Russia or in other parts like ex-India, is to have a consultative process towards the establishment of government in exile. And we have already government of exile in Chechnya. And we have now, for example, the Seek for Justice is doing a campaign to have a referendum in Ottawa on the 23rd of November. So that process is basically to build the institutions to prepare for independence. Mostly they are based in the United States of America, like, for example, this exile government of East Turkestan and ex-China. And so we have these role models, or the Tibetan exile government, or many others. And this is basically what I recommend as well, the movement here for Biafra's independence. And luckily, you have already an exiled prime minister, and I had the honor to have an interview with him already. And I will also invite him to my podcast. And so I'm very happy for that. And you have legitimate institutions, which is a big step. And you have already in America very good support, which is actually quite impressive. I saw a lot of senators, like Senator Ted Cruz, talking about the plight of Christians in Nigeria. The question is always, can we really translate it into an independence movement, which is also supported by the United States and of course the European Union and the United Kingdom, free world, and all others. And that's of course a complicated task. That's because we have a lot of resistance towards new states. Whenever I'm explaining that in 1945, when the UN created, we were just 50 nations, and then we gradually are now at close to 200. Yeah? And soon there will be a new state in Africa, Somaliland, will out of ex-Somalia, and that's very important precedence, maybe also closely to watch, because I'm also supporting the people and the freedom of Somaliland Republic. But now we can, of course, see how we can achieve it together. But the ultimate leadership must be with your Prime Minister in exile and with the government. And I can just amplify what and also advise to a certain extent how this is happening in other parts of the world. Ethiopia is also a good candidate for being extra, and there are others, and so we can work together. But that would be my advice for concrete action. Look what worked in ex-Yugoslavia, look at what kind of dynamic that had, and the most important is to drive forward, to believe in it, to build the institutions and the international consensus for acceptance and recognition, and then to really convince also your people that this is the right way. It must be also some form of taxation, some form of legitimacy, and to achieve state is not easy. We are talking about a very complicated and often very difficult process, but it's entirely possible, as many of the new states which have emerged in the last 30 years have. It's absolutely possible to be a Croatia of West Africa for Biafra. Why not? It's absolutely beautiful in Croatia. It works very well, and you need to look for a role model to achieve it. And that would be actually my recommendation, to use Croatia as a role model and to visit Croatia, maybe to exchange experience, and then to build a similar successful state like Croatia. Thanks a lot. Next one.
Thank you, Martin. The next one is success.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Gunther, and good evening,
Welcome,
Nico. Pleasure to speak with you tonight. I have a few questions, and I think I have to make it very, very brief. Number one is, what is the importance of an exile government to the pursuit of freedom, or to the pursuit of an economic emancipation of an indigenous people? Secondly, if Nigeria is a dangerous, diverse country. Nigeria is a dangerous, diverse country where different backgrounds, ethnic, religions, and tribal were lumped together by force, not by agreement. First, the Yorubas and the Oduduwas, there's the Yorubas predominantly, and the Biafrans, we are lumped together, and they were called the Southern Protectorate, which existed for a while before they lumped the North together, the Northern Protectorate, and they call it Nigeria in 1914, exactly January 1st, 1914. Now, it seems it is difficult to break when the citizens are agitating. And I found out that what is making it difficult is maybe the mineral resources within that very enclave. I want to ask, with these mineral resources, can humanity live? Or without these mineral resources, can humanity still exist? Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. You know, exile government is very important, and I'm very happy that you have already declared independence, that you have an exile government, and that you have the institution in place. This is absolutely critical in order to achieve legitimacy and also recognition, because you need speaking partners on the global world for the free world to address. You need to organize resources and also to make awareness. And this can be legitimate only done by exile government. And I'm happy that you have it. So I agree, it's very, very important. When it comes to resources, that's of course a very big problem in most of the states, because the central state always tries to get control of the resources which bring the foreign exchange, and then being able to buy the military and to have some security apparatus. in order to suppress everybody else. That's the whole history of Russia. That's the whole history of other countries which we have in that category of dictatorships. And that's exactly what Nigeria is doing, controlling the oil wealth and exploiting this money in order to buy off one ethnic group to suppress the others. This is exactly what they are doing. And it works actually doesn't work very well, because Nigeria, in many aspects of economic criteria like inflation, growth, it's an absolute disaster, failed state. Yeah? And they have never managed to have really decent development, which is really outrageous. And their economic management is, despite all these massive resources of this oil wealth, is still absolutely a disaster. And that's why that is, because of corruption and mismanagement and buying off one elite by the other. And then you end up into this kind of oligarchic, kind of corrupt mess, which Nigeria unfortunately is, because they are also not really very friendly to their neighbors. They are not really ready for economic integration, and they are protectionist and oligarchic. And this is a typical sign of a failed state. And the sooner it is Nigeria, the sooner all these opportunities which Nigeria has gifted from the Lord in terms of resources and people will be available for the people and also for the whole world to really share in this wealth, and then to lift the Nigerian people of ex-Nigeria into a normal level of prosperity, freedom, and security, which everybody in the world should have. And they are deprived today of that. And I'm very sorry. And that's why it's very good if we work together in order to address this injustice. Thanks a lot.
Good.
Next question.
The next one is corruption hater.
Hello, corruption hater. You already addressed me on Twitter. I know your tweet. You're very welcome to ask all the questions you asked me on Twitter now here in this space. You have to unmute yourself. Well, maybe your braveness has lost you. Maybe somebody else, because we have a lot of requests, I see, for speaking.
The next one will be Mr. Snow.
Mr. Snow, you're welcome. Okay, let's go to the next.
Okay, let's try it with Mr. Henry. It's connecting. 1 second. Mr. Henry?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You're welcome. Ask your question.
Okay. I really like what is being discussed today in this spirit. Like days back, we have been praying for people to speak on behalf of some of the regions that have been marginalized and treated unfair. But all the effort that I've been pushing has been abortive, because you know the kind of leaders we have in Nigeria, they can go any miles to block any plan that you have. So my question is that, is there any measure on ground to actually, because what is affecting Nigeria now is disinformation. First of all, you have to fight for disinformation. They can push agenda, whatever thing you plan to do, they can push agenda, because they have control of the media, they have control of all the news. They can buy CNN, they can buy BBC, all the news, and change the narrative to negative impact. So my question is that, is there any plan that we can be able to at least get a first-hand information, at least to know this is what is really happening? Let the world know what is really happening. Let the world get to know what is really happening in Nigeria. And this is the truth. Because imagine if you come to Nigeria, you notice that we have southern part of Nigeria, western part of Nigeria and northern part of Nigeria. But due to their evil agenda they have, for them to be able to have a dominance over some certain part of Nigeria, they are able to divide the region, the southern part of Nigeria, into having south-south and southeast. And if you go to your geographical, you can notice that there is nothing like south-south. But due to their agenda, they've been able to divide that particular region, making them a minority in the country. So is there a measure that can be able to at least allow people speak, let the world know that this is what is really going on in Nigeria?
You're addressing a very important question. This is disinformation. We have massive disinformation, especially from Russia and China, also in Europe and everywhere. And also the Nigerian government is very much active to control the information space, and they try to suppress information about the genocide against Christians everywhere in the Western world. And because they have huge commercial clout and interest, they find some partners who are spreading their lies as well. And what is important, how to counter it? You must be active here on X. It's actually, I haven't said that X exists, here Twitter, because you can directly communicate with the world. You can directly inform them about the atrocities. You can be part of the world community. And this is what we need to do. We need to educate the world opinion much more about the crimes against the Christians, against the BIAFRA people, against many other nationalities and ethnicities in the failed state of soon ex-Nigeria. And this is basically the way to do it. And I applaud all the efforts of the community. BIAFRA is really very, very active here on Twitter. And this is exactly what we need to do, and then to share, to inform, to do spaces, and to work together and to fight the Nigerian disinformation monopoly, which they have basically for decades now somehow portrayed themselves as a nice country, but they are not. And we must tell the world, and we must bypass these official communication channels like you have mentioned, BBC and CNN, and go directly right to the marketplace ideas, which is here on X. And that's exactly why we are here together, to understand each other better and to build a global alliance for freedom, and BIAFRA to be part of it. Thanks a lot. Next question.
Good, thank you for your question, Mr. Henry. And the next one is Veteran Dragon 2.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gunther and Nicole, for the space. I am so glad that the Biafran issue and the Nigerian issue is becoming an international news and is gathering momentum. I want to thank you for lending your voice to the problem of Biafra. And I'm also grateful to the clarification you made about the importance of government in exile in quest for independence. Thank you so much for that clarification. I want to say that the only solution to the Nigerian issue is disintegration peacefully. And we have tried, we've been calling for referendum, to the point that we had a self-referendum and the majority of Biafrans voted for yes, over 50 million. But I am suggesting now, if Nigerian state is not accepting that referendum, I will suggest that the international community will compel them, compel Nigeria. Let's have a referendum so that we can separate peacefully. But if this is impossible, the Biafran independence has become irrevocable, and we will fight, but we don't want to fight. So my appeal to international community is to compel Nigeria to organize a peaceful referendum so that there can be a peaceful separation. But if they do not, we have made up our decision, our mind is made up, and it's irrevocable. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're doing a great job.
So you want freedom and independence for Biafra?
Oh yes, I want it now.
Absolutely. Let's work on that one for freedom of Biafra. Thanks a lot for your contribution. Next question, please.
Good, thank you, Veteran Dragon. The next one is Liatitia. Sorry if I spell it wrong.
Hello, good evening, people.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gunter, Mr. Nicole, and everybody online right now. Okay, right now I'm in Cameroon, and I have a parent who's from Nigeria, so I have dual citizenship, and the issues of Nigeria are currently at heart here. So it's true that Cameroon too has been going through a lot of crisis, but it's not compared to what is happening in Nigeria, because indeed in Nigeria there is a genocide of Christians, and actions need to be taken, and those actions need to be taken now. So what I am appealing actually is that we should strive, we should I don't know, fast forward the processes to make Biafra a republic, because knowing fully the present government of Nigeria, I think by right now they should be hurrying up to quench the issue. They should be gathering all their forces, their tactics, gathering a crazy team right now to shun this issue. But the thing is, if we have to act now, and it should be fast. So what are the steps that we are to take right now that can easy the fast forward things to go? Because as time is going, I believe the wind blow and everything will pass. So what are the actions that we can take right now to make things happen? Because it's good to talk about it, but I think actions, demonstrations, concrete things that we can do right now to make things happen, for them to hear us loud, for them to hear us now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. One thing is always about resources. States need resources, and new states in a fragile situation when they want to emerge out of other states need resources. I can tell you the history of Kosovo. It's a new state which was recognized in 2008 by about 120 nations of the world, and I know it very well. I worked there many years, and during the time of the apartheid against the Kosovo Albanians, it was like this, that many of them lived abroad. And what they have done is that 3% of all the income which the Kosovo Albanians have earned in Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Belgium, or other countries, or in America, this 3% of the income they were sharing with the exile government and the resistance movement. And then there was considerable resources available to fund the resistance. It was a peaceful resistance, but they were also building institutions, and they were building an exile government, which was then able in 97 and 98, when the going was tough, and they were able to supply and equip also the resistance ultimately. And then they had also the lobbying and the support in the United States to have enough support that when the Serbs then cracked down and started military violence against the Kosovo Albanians, the Americans then helped and sent the tanks and the airplanes to help the freedom of Kosovo. And this is, I think, the most relevant story for Biafra. You mean they need to build similar strong external institutions in order to be ready for the day when there is the necessity to really convince world opinion to intervene to help you. And so studying the role model of Kosovo is very useful. But I'm also interested to ask a question to you, because you're from Cameroon. Here there is also a movement of independence from Ambazonia, from in the north.
No, Ambazonia actually is from the northwest and southwest of Cameroon. You see, Cameroon is a country that has 10 regions. So we have the Anglophone region, they have 2 regions in Cameroon out of the 10. So we have the Northwest and the Southwest that have been in strike since 2016. And it was also a group that was marginalized. So they tried with the peaceful ways, but as usual with the authoritarian government and the dictatorial government we have in Cameroon, it was not possible for them to have a solution through peace. And as a result, the government used force, they used repression, they used torture as they are used to. And then it resulted later to a crisis that today, up to today, it is not resolved. So, and then we've had elections recently also here again. And this time around, it seemed as if the Paul Biya's regime was not lawfully elected, because we've had a lot of elections fraud, a lot of irregularities, but he was sworn in the other day, and there are citizens that are still fighting for all this that is happening. And it's really something that we are fighting and we are standing against today. So right now, as I'm speaking, the country is restless, people are divided, and a lot of people have been captured. So Cameroon is also going through something, but we pray that the international organizations and body that are involved of humanitarian crisis will finally step in and stop this killing, this kidnapping of people, of political opponents that is happening currently in Cameroon.
Yeah, that's a very tragic situation, and I'm actually very interested. I have called already for ex-Cameroon as well on Twitter last week, and maybe we can also work and we can share more information, because I want to learn more about how to dismantle Cameroon and how to liberate the people of Amazonia and others in ex-Cameroon, and that's something really very important. I think it goes simultaneously, ex-Nigeria and ex-Cameroon, and it is much better if we work together. Thanks a lot for your question.
All right. But concerning Cameroon, it's not. Cameroonians are not much into division currently. What we are all striving for is to get rid of the present president, because we believe he was fraudulently sworn into the palace, which we believe was against the people's voices. So what we want is for the president to peacefully step down due to his age. Cameroon's president is 92 years old and he has been in power more than 43 years old. So it's a terrible thing that we are witnessing, and we pray, and then we are fighting, we are voicing out our rights, and we believe with the international organization pressures and everything, he will step down. But Cameroon is not really that divided. We just have a minority of people, generally from the president's original region in Cameroon, and they want him to stay in power because of the benefits that they have while he's there. Because obviously, a 92 years old man can't rule. A 92 years old man can really direct a country, can really rule matters in a country as it should be. So our plight, our how do we say, our desire is for him to step down, for a different government to step in, because Cameroon is going through a lot of things right now. We don't want division, but we want Paul Biya to step down, and we want that to be in a peaceful way if it's possible. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I share your call and I understand your pain. And I also want that this dictator, this tyrant will step down and face justice. This is absolutely important. But I warn you
Thank
as
you very
well.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
The situation is
All
as
right.
well that, all right, thank you. But the situation is that we have seen in Syria, I was lobbying for 10 years for the fall of Assad, the terrible tyrant of Syria. And then he was falling. And then what we had, the situation is that another terrible man has gained power, and he has been a really a disaster for the minorities now in the year of his power, and he has suppressed a lot of Christians, and he has suppressed a lot of people. So I have always called for ex-Syria, for the division of Syria into 5 new states, and I recommend the same for Cameroon. You know, and you need really to look into the structural fragilities of your country, and it's not enough just to have one tyrant less, and then you continue, and the next guy comes in and does exactly the same and kills the people and steals everything he can, because he very much inherits the same tools of power which the present dictator has. And so I recommend you ex-Nigeria, ex-Cameroon, the ex-Syria. This is the better way. We need smaller, better working states which are really carried and useful for the people, where there's freedom and security. So please look into ex-Cameroon and see my tweet. I have argued it, I think, very well, what kind of new states can develop out of Cameroon. And please share and please work in that direction.
All right. Thank you for your opinion and for your concern. We are really grateful for the work that you are doing here. And we believe in due time everything will work out, especially with everybody's efforts and everybody's contribution. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Now another question, please, Nicole.
Thank you. The next one is, we try again, Mr. Snow.
Yes,
Hello.
thank you so much.
Hello, Snow.
Yes, content. Greetings from here, and everyone on the space. Minister of Information of the Biafra Republic. Greetings from here. Yes, real quick before I go into my question, and I'm only saying this because Biafran relation and Amazonia is not just that of. It's not just because we're sister nations. We have a lot in common as a people, and I believe that the Ambazonia people have declared their own independence and fighting for their freedom right now, as they're being killed, just the same way the Biafran people are being killed by Nigerian state. The Cameroon Defense Forces are also invading Ambazonia. So I believe there is need for a split in the Cameroon territory. You know, I understand what our sister is saying. Everybody has their opinion, but I believe that Ambazonia is fighting for their freedom, just like Biafra is. Now, to my question, Gunter, you have knowledge, vast knowledge on geopolitics, and so I want to ask you this: is there any country in the world that, in your knowledge, recruits known terrorists into their defense architecture?
Syria. Syria is a very bad example for that, because they have recruited even a terrorist as a president. And so that's a really very bad example. But on our case, and it's actually why Syria must be dismantled. And we also need to dismantle, of course, Nigeria, because it's absolutely outrageous what the Nigerian government is doing with this terrorist. They have recruited for the security forces, and then they're killing Christian people who are basically who are their citizens. And no state is allowed to kill their citizens in that situation. And so absolutely a state which does that, like Serbia was doing that to the Albanians, they were their citizens, they killed them. So once a state does that, the state loses the legitimacy to govern the state and these people. So you are absolutely justified in going for independence when it's happening.
So if a country recruits terrorists into their security architecture, that makes that country a terrorist nation, right?
I would not say that automatically, but it depends on what these people are doing in their state function. If as part of their new state duties they are committing atrocities and genocide, then it's going in the direction of a genocide state, and then the legitimacy is lost. Absolutely.
Okay, so I asked this question because I want to point it out here, right on your space, that Nigeria has more recruited terrorists in all their security architectures. And to me, that makes Nigeria a terrorist state. So when people hear us describing Nigeria as a terrorist country and a terrorist state, these are the factors that makes us describe Nigeria as a terrorist state. My other question I wanted to ask you, you've already addressed it, and that is the importance of people understanding the value and the need for anybody who is fighting for independence, especially from a terrorist country like Nigeria, to have a government in exile. I appreciate you for addressing that, and for those who are listening, for those who keep asking questions about Biafra Republic government in exile, maybe now you can take a lead from the conversations today and go and read on your own, research and understand what a government in exile is, why you must respect Biafra Republic government in exile. Thank you so much, Gunther. I'll give others the space to speak. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. The next one is university. Yep, you are raising your hand. Okay, maybe also information media university. You
Hi, Nico.
can ask.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Gutta. Guten Abend from here, from Germany.
You're welcome. Hi.
Hi. Sprichst du Deutsch?
Yes, absolutely.
Guten Abend. Yeah.
You're welcome. What's your question?
Yeah. First of all, thank you again. I like the topic you put up here, Biafra freedom and ex-Nigeria. Yeah. Before I ask my question, I'd like to make a few comments because this situation that is happening in Nigeria, of course, since you are supporting Nigeria, Biafra, there are a lot of opinion that is going to come out, including attacks from Nigeria's side. Nigeria is so complex that a foreigner will not actually understand what's going on there. There are 3 countries that made up Nigeria, which is Biafra, the Hausa people, and the Oduduwas. So there have been a kind of gang up against people in the south, that's the Biafra people, and there has been some kind of education for a very long time. They have been training people how to be Nigeria, even if people do not accept the idea. And because of that, those who have agreed with such education are kind of fighting back, which has created a lot of divisions in Biafra land. So a lot of people have asked you some certain question here. I want to ask you, how do you, because I've read some of your profile about something that has to do with North Atlantic treaties, and so that, and you have spoken a lot how you have, lobbied for some other people who are seeking for freedom and stuff like this. How do you deal with the complex situation where there are, because people do not actually understand Nigeria? It's too deep. How do you deal with a complex situation like Nigeria?
It's not so complex. Thanks a lot for asking, because there are people who are killed. And there is a lot of atrocities against citizens of Nigeria. It's not complex. Somebody ordered them, somebody paid the militias, somebody gave them the backing, somebody promised them not to be punished. And so that's basically a crime which the state of Nigeria is committing. And it doesn't matter the internal complexities, they are similar in many countries of the world, like in Ethiopia, like in Russia. You have a dictatorship, you have enough resources to pay one part of the population to the other, and you basically live in the authoritarian system. And that's something really bad. I don't need to know all the details of Nigerian history or the Nigerian ethnic demographic complexities. Yeah? You are in a deep problematic situation, and I'm sure that's very similar, like I've mentioned already, Yugoslavia, but in some cases, it's much better if you have the division in several new, better working states. The states then can be a system to help to develop democracies, to develop market economy, to build the institutions which are required to be a really valuable and sustainable state. And this we know very well This is, I think, the much better way to go ahead. And the excuse of complexity is often like an excuse. You cannot understand the situation, and you are too silly, and you don't understand. And then in reality, this is often an excuse which is used by the ones who are in power and are able to exploit the rest. That somehow explain that you are so unique because only you can understand the situation. And I don't buy this argument. So Nigeria is a country like many in the axis of resistance, axis of authoritarian dictators, which I call the axis of evil. We have North Korea, we have Syria, we have partly India, we have, of course, China and Russia, and then we have Ethiopia, we have South Africa, we have Congo, we have Sudan, we have Mali, and we have Nigeria. And then Nigeria has chosen the wrong side. It's very obviously aligned with Russia and China. And then we see that the way they treat young people is absolutely unacceptable. And then we have all the legitimacy to call for the dismantlement of such an unlawful and criminal state as Nigeria. And then it will be very simple. We will support Biafra. Biafra will be free. We will trade with Biafra. We will work together. We will exchange good governance proposals. And Biafra will be a very successful state, like maybe Ghana, like Croatia, and like others also in Africa who have transformed themselves in the last years from a very difficult situation to a good one. And I'm pretty optimistic with the help of the international community, Biafra can be a very viable state in the future.
Thank you so very much for that wonderful detailed answer. Why I asked that question because we've seen foreign interventions in the past, and sometimes these foreign powers tend to align with the oppressor and they postpone the freedom that's supposed to have happened. That's why I asked that question, because from the learnings from the past, I get to understand that instead of reaching out to the people, going into the communities, asking the agitators, there are groups agitating, there are resistance groups who are resisting the oppressor, instead of having understanding with the agitators of the resistance to understand the criticality of their situation, as if those people are no longer family, then they align with the people in power who are oppressing the people and then make things worse. At the end of the day, no result is achieved. So, and like the situation of Biafra, we saw Europe align with Nigeria. Of course, the fight was directly Britain against Biafra, but using Nigeria by proxy, after reaching understanding with the Fulani Islamic jihadists, to whom was led by Osman Danfodio during the time they invaded the land, installing jihad and caliphates in the land that doesn't belong to them. And they never knew that what they were defending was jihad, and that this jihad is capable of growing up to Europe, up to America, and up to every part of the world. Biafra resisted all these foreign powers, Russia, Europe, America, all put together, supporting, and they tend to create some narrative in Nigeria by Britain about a coup d'etat, that it was because of this coup that led to the war. That was very wrong. There was genocide happening in Nigeria right from the day all the states and the regions that was formulated by Nigeria. It took the life of our people, because most times our people are the people are against it, especially in the south. They are always against it, but at the end of the day, foreign power comes in, support the state they created, and put the people's life more in danger. The young people grow up and inherit this problem, sometimes don't know how to solve it, and then they fall inside the hands of the oppressor and they make things worse. So that was why I asked that question, because the killings has never stopped. So the creation of Nigeria was through killings. The people who were forced to become Nigeria were done by force. People died for it. When the killings escalated, Ojukwu tried to protect the South, and the foreign powers never understood this, supported Nigeria, and slaughtered millions. In short, they weren't winning the war. After 2 years, Nigeria was losing. They had to create some kind of economic blockade to scuttle and stop freedom from prevailing. So
That's a terrible crime. That was really a terrible crime. We should
absolutely.
all always apologize for not helping the people of Biafra in this terrible siege and in this famine, which was done by the Nigerian central government against you. And alone for that, I think you have deserved independence and freedom.
Thank you so very much. That's why I appreciate. I can never believe, because our people have lived in pain and agony and tried to survive. The only way we were only surviving was just to leave our homes and to try to seek a better place elsewhere. Some people live by force because the Nigerian authorities are after them to kill them. Yes, some families have been killed and they just flee, while some flee economically, some just cannot take it anymore and they try to move away. Some don't even have to do any paperwork, because before you can do that, you will be dead. So you either flee through Libya, or anyhow you can just escape the bondage. But still, it's been very difficult for Biafran people, and that was what led to the creation of the Biafran Republic government in exile. Although today is split into almost 3 parts, because Simon Finland decided to come for Simon after whatever agreement they reached with Nigeria. When they are saying that they are killing Christians, but what are these Christians that are killing? They are Biafrans. Biafrans in the north and the west and every part of Nigeria are facing slaughtering on almost on daily basis. You understand? So I understood that a lot of representatives from the Biafran Republic government in exile will be reaching you because of what you're doing. Yeah, please do not reject them. Try to understand it, but you must know that Biafra Republic government in exile has been split. The main part, which is the structure that Simon Ekpa and the rest of the members of the cabinet established, is being led by the Biafran Government Council. Of course, the ex-APM who was sacked by the CRC is here handling this platform of information, media and communication. He is the ex-communication of the Biafran Republic government in exile. If there is any other information you would know or you need, maybe you want to understand more about Biafran Republic government in exile, it's also a very complex structure that is still under development. So you can also reach out. There are professors and doctors and ordinary people in the government. Our mission is to ensure that we secure freedom for our people. We want to build our land to our taste. We want to partner with the rest of the world. We want peace in Africa and the world. And we like the world powers to give us this opportunity as the people, as Biafran people, to be able to explore the world, to be able to develop our people and our life. Nigeria is not building. He doesn't want to allow the people who want to build. He is exiling our young generation and killing our young generation. In the 20th century, when the genocide against Biafra happened, the attack was targeted on young people, pregnant women, and this was how they left the combat front line, and they were going after refugee hospitals. They were going to farms. They were going to food banks. It was after they have erased all the food banks, all the stocks, and destroyed all the hospitals that they now declared the economic blockade. Nigeria ordinarily do not have what it takes to declare food blockade, but because they had powerful allies that were going to annihilate million children. If somebody kills million of your children, that person doesn't want you alive at all. He wants you to be raised. And there is no medicine that is going to make such people to believe in whatever system or creation that they develop. Because if that person was going to develop that for the success of everyone, he wouldn't go slaughtering fellow human beings and fellow Africans. So, and somebody who did that should not be part of the United Nations or anywhere where the world powers are seated, because it doesn't represent, except if what this word represents is something else that we are yet to understand. But if for the peace of this world and for the growth and development, to develop humanity and build humanity, to protect people, to do business with each other, I don't believe they will go that extent. So this is all I have. I would love that you have full detail on how our government in exile and in homeland is being run. It will give you more insight on how to work with every Biafran. I'm not trying to condemn our brothers who split and go to respect the idea, but the Prime Minister has called many times and said that everybody should try to unite with each other and work, because what we are looking for is the same thing that everyone is looking for: freedom. I know that it's very sweet. People are working very hard to see this future come. We must be able to have a compromise to be able to work with each other to achieve this very glorious future that God has given us. Thank you so very much, Heaventon.
Thanks a lot. Important point of unity of the Biafra nation and also legitimacy of institutions. This is, of course, very important. And often you have it that various factions, various political factions, personal ambitions lead to division in the diaspora and in the exile community and to different institutions. That's happening for historic reasons, for personal reasons, for financial reasons. That comes very often. For example, in Belarus, there's also the former exile government of 1918, basically, of the independent Belarus in Canada. And then you have also the new exile government of the 2020 elections, and they live, I think, in Brussels or in Lithuania. Sorry, Lithuania, I don't know exactly where at the moment, but so you have it. And this is unfortunate. I call for unity. What is important is unity and also legitimacy. You must have due process. Also in the diaspora, you can, exile government can have elections, can have a representative body, basically a parliament, can have a president, can have a government, and can work in a legitimate way. That means you report to the public, you inform, you consult your institutions. Everybody understands that you are outside and that you have not the full power, but you can organize more or less a similar process like a government would work. And that's, of course, expensive. You need to have support, but it is very good for the legitimacy, and it shows that you are potentially a government in exile which is ready to take power in the country. Because Nigeria itself, same like Russia, is always doing maximum to delegitimize the opposition and also especially the exile opposition, and they're doing that very professionally. So we must work double intensive in order to create the international recognition and the network that you are a viable kind of alternative to the present government. And that's, of course, important. And I think you need to be accredited in the European Union, in Strasbourg for the Council of Europe, and if it's possible, even towards the African Union, and then also in Washington, D.C., where everything is decided. And that's very important. And so I can just underline the point to have good representation in Washington, where most of the exile governments of the world are based. And I know the East Turkestan, for example, very, very nice people. And they want to break away from Russia, from China, sorry, and they are really very good. They're organized there, for example. And so that's my recommendation, and that's actually the way to win. Thank you very much for the question. Further questions?
Good. Yes, the next one is Rage and Fury.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Nicole and Mr. Gunther. Thank you very much for your hard work for the Biafran people. We appreciate all that you do for us. My name is Regent Fury, and I am speaking from Biafra land. and we send our greetings from the Holy Land of Biafra. Indeed, the name Nigeria is not indigenous to the people. And before I proceed, I must say special greetings to our Honorable Minister of Information with the handle Information Minister. And Mr. Gunter, please, I will still plead. He's representing over 80 million people. He's the voice of over 80 million people. So you might need to give him a little more time to really speak on the space. We'll really appreciate that. And the Honorable Minister Snow is the COS to the acting Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile. So we really appreciate it if you can give them a little more time to really say more or enlighten you and the world about the Biafra movement. Thank you very much. And talking about Nigeria, Nigeria is a foreign entity owned by a foreigner that was imposed on the indigenous people on their own land to take away the identity of these indigenous people. This foreign entity is also managed by, in most cases, strangers, you understand, owned by a foreigner as well. This is why you see whenever they want to select a killer, whom they call leader, they go to the owner of this property, of this entity called Nigeria, who resides in number 10 Downing Street. That is Britain, you understand? So that they can give the concept of the next killer. You understand? So that indeed Nigeria needs to be disintegrated, because when you look at the genocide against all this Islamic genocide against Christians, I think the best way to really put a permanent stop to this genocide is to create a state, a Biafran state with Christian value, a place where Christians can call a home, a place where Christians can feel safe. So that is the best solution that can be, given to this Christian genocide, because for America to commit their military on ground, it's a good idea, but that will be very capital intensive, but it will also draw concern from different countries, you understand? But if America and other European countries can just recognize Biafra, then you fight the terrorism from the land of Biafra. It's going to go a long way in putting a stop to all this terrorism. And speaking about the Biafra Republic government in exile was inaugurated some 2 years ago. That should be 2023, I suppose, yes, with the head office at Maryland, Baltimore, right? So it was this Biafra Republic government in exile that organized a self-referendum that we all here in Biafra land, I was one of those that used to help people to vote as well, because a lot of our people, they need assistance. We know what we went through, and at the end of the day, we gathered over 50 million votes. So, and we went to
50 million votes.
Over 50 million votes, yes.
Yes, over 50 million votes, yes.
Very successful. You are like a model movement of national self-determination. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So, like I was saying, up to date, our head office still remain in the same place where it is. So we are not divided. I don't really want. I believe you are a very smart man, Gotham. Before you made your research, you carry out your research, and you know the government that is representing the Biafran people from Washington D.C., from all the diplomatic engagement, everything. Nothing is hidden. They are all in the media. You understand? So I don't want you to have the impression that we are divided. We are actually one. Those are some of the people, some of our brothers that left. They left based on probably on selfish reasons, and I don't really know, because all of these things, when our prime minister was arrested and we came back, the former chief of defense staff of Nigeria made a statement that to stop the Biafra movement, attack the finance. And from time to time, some of our people have been bought over to attack the finance from time to time, which I'm not going to go into. A lot of groups have come in the name of accountability, in finance, and here and there. While in our laws, it is stated that these areas are classified due to the fact that if they are made open, a lot of our people are going to sabotage the movement, which they know very well. You understand that due to they have to play to the agenda or to what the chief of defense staff Musa told them. They started coming up with finance accountability on finance, and they keep attacking finance. This is why a lot of them left. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the same government that organized that self-referendum where over 50 million people voted is the same government that is still working with Washington, D.C. That is still working with Washington, D.C. It is the same government that still has its headquarters in so, Mr. Gota, it's like I'm having some another comment. Like I said earlier, please kindly give our Honorable Minister of Information time to also speak, because he's going to educate you a lot about this whole thing. Thank you very much. I yield the mic here. My name is Regent Fury.
Rachel Fury, I don't think you'll be doing that on the space, because if you go that you try to change the subject, that's not okay. Because if you go by that, many people here will want to come up to tell you who the person you are talking about is. So the people who you said they separate did not separate. The Biafran Republic government in exile is run by the Biafran Governance Council.
Mr. Gotan,
So
I think
you have to leave that part for inside. It's a time you have to leave it.
We are not
Guys,
here to
please
argue.
stop the arguing. We have other questions. We have to continue. This is a topic for another
This man
space.
that is speaking here
Thanks
now
a
might
lot,
not have been
Nicole.
given
Next question, please. We will
that to be attacking the
discuss that.
government from his.
So sorry. The next one is the military department of the Biafra Republic.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, especially Mr. Gunther and Mr. Nicole. At the same vein, I salute my fellow comrades, Mr. Snow. Sorry for you hearing my voice in this way because it's too late in this evening. I'm greeting also University in Kendi Biafra, Regent Furi, and Wada Stella, Simon Ekpa and Sam Ekpa, His Excellency Chizoba, everybody here present, Metusela. I can see some corrupt. Okay, you can understand how your name is written. I'm not seeing very well. USB, BOC, Okudile, everyone here present. It's my pleasure to greet everybody here present. I just wanted to let our people to understand one thing. I'm so happy that our brothers, especially our big brother from Vienna, is here. But I want to let our people to know that the period we are is classified in the history as the African uprising, Black African uprising, otherwise known as African Renaissance, or what you call African Romanticism. It is a period where our people have got to know that our destiny is to be taken upon our hands. That there is no Jesus Christ, or no Zarathustra, or no any spirit that is going to liberate us. But it is we, by the time we understand how the world functions, what we call the mechanism, or what you call the axis of power. By the time we understand that, we take, therefore, our destiny upon our hand. I see all these things going on as the beginning of African Renaissance. But at the same time, we have to give all kudos to the leaders we had in terms of Biafra, because the theme of this evening expose is Biafra freedom ex-Nigeria. Very important. Biafra freedom, ex-Nigeria. And in fact, I started in this our big brother, just like we had Mazi Gira Solis, Alex. I'm also giving the title of Mazi to Gonte and Mazi Nicole, because these are the people that the spirit of freedom have touched, and they left their own ethnic, and they are coming to synergize with us. I'm also with European Commission. It is not easy to get people that feel Africa. It is not easy to see a white man. let us put it in our African, way of understanding. It is not easy for us to be in the midst of white people, and you see that white person seeing him or herself as an African.
Maybe I lost you now.
I think something with the microphone is not working.
Maybe, but it was not a full question. I couldn't understand the question. So maybe the next one.
Yep. The next one is corruption hater. We tried it at the beginning. Maybe it worked now.
Corruption hater is somebody, he is very critical to me, but he is afraid to speak out now. I don't know, but he is defending unity of Nigeria. It would be interesting to hear him, but he is not able to unmute his microphone. Maybe later. Let's try. Maybe the Nigerian government has sent him and he is afraid to talk here. I don't know. Everything is possible.
The next one is Emmanuel.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening, you are welcome.
And gentlemen. I am greeting everyone in the house. Good evening, Gonta and Nicole. It is a pleasure having you people talking about the freedom of the Biafra people. Before I go on this very program, I would say, permit me to speak in my dialect, to speak to my own people before I make a public hearing where you can be able to understand. Biko ndị be anyị, ihe anyị bịara ebe ikwu bụ okwu freedom. Onye ọbụla mụ iwe na-ewe ya shield ya abịaghị ebe ịzọ gọọmenti elu gọọmenti ala. Onye ọbụla ha sị na ya enye Biafra, ihe anyị chọrọ bụ Biafra. Onye ọbụla a chọrọ inye Biafra, sịsị ha nda ya Biafra
Nicole,
over.
it's better to mute him because we don't know what he's saying, and so
no,
it's English.
Don't mute
No,
me.
it's English. It's English and English only. Somebody else? Next question.
Voice of Biafra. It's connecting. A second.
Very well. You're welcome.
And guys, please ask questions. And yeah.
I can also announce it's the next 20 minutes is then the closing at 20 to 12. I have to close because it's getting late in Austria.
The next one is Shine.
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr.
You're welcome.
God. Good evening, Nico. Please, sir, I don't know whether my own is a question, but I want to ask you, I don't know whether you know how actually what is happening in that so-called Nigeria, because I saw in social media and in your Twitter, you are talking about Christians, but we were talking about a system, Biafra existing from Nigeria. And I want you to know, because what I saw that Nigerians government are doing now is that they are trying to deny it, and some they are trying to deceive people that they want to change, they want to mend everything. I am begging you to beg President Trump to come quick, to come and rescue Nigeria and Biafra. And it's not only Nigeria, and it's not only Christians they are killing in Nigeria. Most of this killing that we are seeing is inside Biafra land. They will go and tell, they are now saying that they can solve the problem with if they give them some times, but they are preparing how to deceive President Trump when he see that he accepts what he's saying, then they will start killing Biafrans. It's not only Christian in the north, they are also killing Biafrans. All the fighter jets that the American gave to them to fight for Boko Haram, they are using it to killing Biafrans, bombarding Biafrans, destroying our house, killing our women, raping our women. But no, you cannot hear it. It's not anywhere in social media. It's not only Christians. They are killing Biafrans every day. Even this week at Enugu, they block one city in Enugu. They said that none of them will enter their village. Fulani herdsmen. You will see Nigerian people, they dismount, they deny us not to protect ourselves, that everybody should come and give them our gun. Now you will see they will be carrying their cow, entering inside our school, inside our house, inside our bank. If you talk to them, you will see a small boy, 9 years, with AK-47, shooting people. If you talk, they will kill you. They kill people in Southeast like animal. Now, that's why our leader, Mazen Nandekado, created the ESN. The Nigerian government entered inside and deceived them and kidnapped our leader from Kenya. This is an abomination in this world that somebody traveled from London to Kenya and Nigerian government collude and go and kidnap him in Kenya. Nobody is saying anything about it. He is still in DSL dungeon since 5 years. Now the Supreme Court in Nigeria tell them that they should release this guy, that they don't supposed to kidnap him. They're supposed to do it through international law, but they kidnap him. Why are they keeping him up till now, since 2001, without medical, without anything? They cannot even give him treatment because he's from Southeast. The ones that there is another one that is fighting for Yoruba, they kidnap him and they release him within 8 months. Why is Southeast own is different? They are killing us every day. If the whole world want to come and take our oil, let them come and take this oil and let Biafrans breathe. I don't know, because I'm not hearing it anywhere. President Trump is talking about only killing Christians. No, they are killing us every day. Every day in Biafra land, more than 30 women. The worst part of it, the one I saw one day, that a lady, she's pregnant, they cut off the head, open the stomach and bring out the child and cut the child into pieces. They are not seeing. If you go sit in a
Okay, I think the connection
would have to go and bring vegetable in a backyard. Fulani herdsmen saw this lady and cut this lady into pieces like chicken. Nobody is saying it. And the number one is that when I was small, they said that if when they do the amalgamation, when
Okay, I think the connection is lost.
Yeah, it's a big tragedy what is happening in terms of atrocities in Nigeria. I really feel vindicated to call for ex-Nigeria, and I press my sympathy and empathy with all the victims of the genocide against Christians in Nigeria. Thanks a lot. Next question, please.
The next one is Divine.
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity. My question is going to be very blunt and straightforward. So the Nigerian government have been able to infiltrate the movement in two ways. One, by giving some individuals money to donate their ways through the leadership, and two, by the main on ground. So my question is going to be, how are you going to be financed if you want to identify with any institution at all that is championing the Biafra movement? As any institution, anyone you just find or you deem fit to champion the Biafra restoration, how are you going to depend on the finance? Is it based on donation, or you also going to find some, or you also going to lobby those who will finance, and later on the Biafrans will pay back the money? I still have more questions. Please enlighten us with this.
If you want to support me personally, you can subscribe at my Twitter button, and I appreciate very much. Otherwise, I'm independent from all other resources, and I'm supporting many movements for freedom, and in generally, I support all the movements for freedom. I'm also an economist, and I'm also working on that one as a development consultant. If you ask me personally, this is my answer. Next question.
Okay, so thank you very much. So in terms of lobbying for peaceful dissolution, peaceful breakup of Nigeria, and what if the peaceful method doesn't work, and then you want to use like whatever means necessary?
So first of all, we have the most important question is the liberation of Mazi, the independent leader. He is the Nelson Mandela of Nigeria and of Biafra. We have to look for his release. This is my most important goal, and I'm looking very much forward for that one. Additionally, you know, the independence of Biafra is, of course, a very noble goal, and we have to achieve it together during the breakup of Nigeria. Nigeria is a hostile state to the West. They are committing a genocide against Christians, and they are aligned with our enemies, China and Russia. So they have lost all the legitimacy to cover this territory of Nigeria. And therefore, there must be either a real transformation of Nigeria into a free federal democracy, market economy, and a kind of a decent state, or the dismantlement, ex-Nigeria is the much better way forward. And that's what I recommend. Obviously, I have no powerful tools of no ships or anything to go to Nigeria, and I don't want to have a military intervention. So I call simply to have a process similar like in Kosovo of peaceful resistance. You maybe know the story of Mr. Rugova, who is called the Gandhi of the Balkans, who has led to these people, the Kosovo Albanians. They have basically left the institutions of the occupying states, and they entered a decade of civil resistance and disobedience in order to show they are not happy with the way they are governed and suppressed by the Serb authorities. And this ultimately led then to the events of 97 and 99, which ultimately led to NATO intervention, on behalf of the Kosovo Albanians in order to end the genocide against them. And it's not only, the Kosovo Albanians are mostly Muslims. So we have made a military intervention as NATO to liberate the Albanian Muslims from the Christian Serbs. It is not about religion ultimately. It's about human dignity, and it's the right for statehood. When a state, similar like Russia has done it in Chechnya, or the Serbs have done it in the case of Kosovo, is committing a genocide, it clearly has lost the right to govern these people. And if this is now the case, the more I learn from this call as well, because I hear a lot of new things and new accusations of atrocities and genocide, the more I hear, the more it clearer gets that this is absolutely the case. There is genocide committed by the Nigerian state, so there is no legitimacy in governing the Biafran people. So you are absolutely justified to call for independence and also to work towards that in the international arena. And this is what I'm happy to support and what I'm very much looking forward to be successful. And please look at how good the people in Kosovo live now, and that can be also the future. And I'm confident it will be the future of Biafra Republic, free and successful. Next question.
Okay, so in the case where we engage in civil disobedience and our leaders and our people are still being incarcerated and killed, don't you think we have the right to self-defense?
Yes, it's absolutely clear that you have some self-defense, like Kosovo Albanians had it as well. And ultimately, it was an armed struggle which led to the independence of Kosovo. And look very closely on that one. And it was, of course, with a lot of risk and a lot of victims, but it ultimately paid off. Assisted for many years. I worked in Kosovo, and I worked for 5 years actually in Kosovo. And this was really very good experience for me. And we built like a model state, how it really should be from the scratch. And it's now working very good with very good digital governance, investment promotion, rule of law. And it's actually a very good entity. And I can really recommend you to take it as a role model. Potentially, you can also take Croatia. It's much more developed, and it had also an independence war in order to liberate it. So yeah, I cannot exclude armed struggle, but I'm not calling for that, obviously, because I'm a peaceful economist. But you can look at all the independence movements in history. Very few have gone into victory without armed struggle. So it's not a secret. Everybody knows that. But for me, it would be much better if we go and achieve a peaceful dismantlement of Nigeria, because there will be less bloodshed and it will be much better for everybody, because the other countries and the other parts of Nigeria will also have their own states. And why should the central authorities really dominate Biafra, for example? And it's much better to have probably 6 or 7 new states, or maybe 10 states, because Nigeria is a very big country, can be also 12 or 15. This is basically a process of negotiations. And I'm sure there is some ethnic, religious justification. And Biafra is only the first of many to break away. And this will be, of course, the very best, as I've recommended already in the beginning of this talk, is if you have, maybe I can share this map as well somewhere in a chat or so. But you see it on my Twitter feed. It's on the top of my Twitter feed. If you look, you see the map which we proposed for ex-Russia. And I think this is agreed with many of the independence movements of Russia. And so I really recommend take a look at my the header of my Twitter feed. And you can also go to the forum for the post-Russian nations. And there we have exactly that map with the 41 new states, because Russia is a very big country, so it's 41, and with the flags and with the names. And it's very useful because very soon Putin will lose the war and in Ukraine, and then it will be the moment for ex-Russia. And if you look at that map, you learn already how the future will look like. And Nigeria needs exactly the same map of the independent countries, agreed with the various independence leaders, and then legitimized by sending it on Twitter and agreeing it in the various exile governments.
All right. With the situation on ground, what's the probability of Nigeria dissolving in peace? Because I don't think it's even there. I don't think it's even there. So, what do you think about it?
I think it's possible. You know, you need to agree with the other independence movements and with the other ethnic representation in the other countries and the other regions. And if you all simultaneously declare independence, you know, there's only the central government left. And so that's the best way, basically, to do it and to simultaneously set a point of a breakup somewhere in the middle of 2026, and then to declare 6 or 7 states simultaneously independence. And then, you know, the central authorities really will lose oversight and legitimacy, and then you are independent states.
Okay. Okay. Now, you know, Nigeria loves bribing. Let's say they bring you packages and we don't know you. We've not done research about you. We just seen you for the first time coming up. So forgive me for this question. Let's say they bring you packages. How do we know that you will not join the cause and then side with Nigeria at the end?
Whatever. Thanks a lot for your question. Now we have the next question, Nicolas.
Thank you.
The next one is Emmanuel.
Good evening. Good
evening.
I was here before and I wanted to speak to my people in our local language before I come back. But
okay, Nicole, you can mute him as well.
No, I can speak English now.
Nicole, mute him.
Yeah.
Situation. Yeah. Next question.
Give me a second.
We have 3 more, and excuse me, then it's then 50 minutes to 12, and I have to go to bed.
The next one is Emerson.
Hello, Emerson.
Yeah. Good evening, Gunther.
You're welcome. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nicole, the co-host. Welcome each and everybody that are here to listen. So my question is very straight. Yeah. So they are holding our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and he has been there going to 5 years. So, what measures are you taking for this case to be in the spotlight for the whole world to see? Because of the injustice going on and the court case that will be coming up on the 20th of this month, November. So, what measures are you taking for this court case to be, to take a spotlight for President Donald Trump and the world to see the injustice going on in Nigeria? Thank you. And also in our
Thank you for this question. This is a very good question. I have already called for the release of your independence leader, Mr. Masi, and I have already made an interview on the television channel for BIAFRA, calling exactly for that one as well. I can also release more videos about this, and I also support this on this platform. And it's, I think, important cause, yeah, because I don't think the Nigerian government really wants to create a martyr of freedom in Mr. Masi. And so I call on the American president and all the European authorities to release him. And maybe we will also try to nominate him for an award in the European Parliament, or create a lot of attention. If something happens to him, we will obviously work in his case, like with Mr. Navalny, who is now the symbol as a dead martyr for freedom of Russia. And I warn the Nigerian authorities, if you go down the road of killing your opposition leaders, you will regret it. And definitely I will do the intensified campaign for ex-Nigeria, which I anyhow hope that happens very soon. And my continued advocacy hopefully has an impact here on the world opinion, and that's what I hope, and that's what I'm actually confident of. And we will achieve this. He will be free, and maybe he will be then the president of Biafra, which would, I think, be the perfect result of the outcome of our activities.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Two more?
Good. The next one is someone from the Balkans. He's Bosniak. His name is Hadi. Maybe he can tell us about the experience from Bosnia and Serbia.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Fehlinger and Nicole. So, even though this meeting is about Biafra and Nigeria, there are some recent developments, more like warmongering and all that, and rhetoric from the Serbs. I mean, a lot has happened. We had Dodik's recent speech about the fact that he called us Turks and all. So, I don't know. That's little rhetoric from them. And we also have some developments in Kosovo, especially from Mitrovica. I mean, stuff is also there happening. I mean, law enforcement and all because of recent elections and also this is some kind of question about what is the new opinion about the Serbs here and what should we do with what's happening right there now.
Thanks a lot, Hadi. That's very nice that you call in and you share these questions. It's both very true. It was very bad speech of Mr. Dodik. I released already a video about it, and also in Mitrovica the situation is worrying. But we don't want to go too deep now in the Balkan affairs because it's about Biafra today. But what I can say, no matter where in the world, I will always be on the side of freedom, market democracies, and reasonable governance. And no matter what religion, I always condemn genocide, atrocities, and human rights abuses. It's not about Christians, Muslims, or whatever religion. I also defend the Sikhs in Khalistan in India. And I say everybody has the right for a decent life, for security, and the protection of his property and his physical security. And that's what we want in the world, no matter if it's in Biafra, Nigeria, or in Syria, or in Bosnia and Kosovo. And everybody has the right for religious freedom and for protection of his property and his body. And this is what we're fighting for. And I call for everybody. The tyrants must fall. We must have freedom. And where freedom is not there, we must establish new states. And if it's necessary to pick up countries like Yugoslavia, it's a much better result to do it, even when it might be very painful. Because if states are not working, it's better to splinter them and dismantle them into smaller entities. And this is now the proof. Nigeria is the Yugoslavia of West Africa. And now we have a situation in Bosnia which is still not perfect, very complicated in Kosovo, still not
That's
perfect,
true.
but we have it much better than ever in the history of any governance ever in the history of Bosnia now today. And the future of Bosnia lies in NATO, EU, and the Euro. And Dodik will not win. And Dodik is already removed out of his office and his political function because of his extremist rhetoric. He has already lost political power. He will lose even more political power in the future. And I, on my Twitter account, will make my contribution to that one. And when you follow me also from Biafra, you can learn about Bosnia. From Bosnia, you can learn about Biafra, because it's ultimately all the same struggle for freedom, for justice, for property, prosperity, and for a better life. And this is what I stand for. And this is what I want to thank you very much, Hadi. Also, I know you support me. I thank you very much for that. And now
Mr.
we have
Fehlinger, and greetings to the public.
Yes, you're welcome. And now one last question for tonight, please.
Yeah, the last question is from Bishop Comfort Ubani.
Welcome. This was not happening. So another question.
Yeah, then a follow-up question from Information Media Communicate.
Okay, welcome. One last point from you, and then we close it for tonight. No, absolutely. I agree. History is full of independence movements which had to make this decision. I don't call for this because, I'm against violence, but there might be situation where this is absolutely necessary. And history has shown that liberation struggles from Israel to Kosovo, there was always a lot of necessity to fight for freedom as well. And this might be also the case in the case of Nigeria and Biafra. I call, and this is also my last closing statement, what I want is a peaceful dissolution of the Yugoslavia of West Africa, of Nigeria. It is proven that it doesn't bring prosperity and security for its people. There is a genocide against Christians and others in Nigeria today, and therefore I call for ex-Nigeria freedom for Biafra, and let's work together to achieve our noble goals for a better life for the people of Biafra, and ultimately as well for Nigerians, because the Nigerians will be much better off if it's many new successor countries of Nigeria, because we can help them, assist them in the breakup process, and it will be a much better result. And then they will be better governed, they will be freer, they will be more prosperous and more secure. And that's why I think this is the better way forward for ex-Nigeria. My recommendation for tonight: fight for freedom, work for freedom, live freedom, and we will achieve freedom. And I wish you a very nice evening wherever you are, from Bosnia to Biafra to the United States of America, here from Vienna. I say thank you very much for this space. Thank you, Nicole, for hosting it and also for promoting it. And I want to invite you next week on the 18th of November, on Wednesday, I think it's the 18th or 19th, is the Red Wednesday. This is the global day against persecution of Christians. And please work on this global day and before, to make it very, very public case what's happening in Nigeria. And let's work together in the future, also in 2026, to achieve freedom for Biafra. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you, and I wish you all a very nice evening, and freedom will be achieved in the future. And I will be back on one of the spaces, possible next week, where we can discuss again about the situation in Biafra. And I want to thank you very much for your attention and joining this space. It will be also then recorded, and we will put it on Twitter, and then you can listen and share and stay in touch. And the fight for freedom is universal. We will be successful. All tyrants will fall, and so will the tyrant of Nigeria and Cameroon and other countries. You will see. We will win. Thanks a lot. Good night from Vienna.
Good night.
And
Thanks a
goodbye
lot,
to
Nicole.
everyone.
Bye.